Hey y'all, welcome back to Gadfly, the podcast about third parties, fringe candidates, and just generally weird American electoral history. I'm Dusty Wilson.
And I'm not running for governorship of California.
Man, that is the worst table at lunch at high school. You're just sitting there by yourself with like a bunch of other people who are too young to vote or run for office. Terrible table.
Worst.
It's
Sit with the nerds. That would be better.
Oh man, so that's a really good setup for where we are right now, because we're on part 3, the final chapter of the 2003 gubernatorial recall election, California.
Yeah.
And it has been a fucking goofy ass trip so far.
Yep. Cue up the final countdown by Europe.
Oh man, we can't afford that.
I know. Just everyone at home, hum it to yourself and think about Joe Bluth.
Oh my God. So here we are in part 3. We've just been introduced to the 6 main characters of this final debate stretch, the 6 out of 135 people who are going to be in all the debates. And this includes Arnold Schwarzenegger, action movie star, and probably debatably the world's biggest movie star in the 80s and the 90s.
Yes.
You have Peter Ueberroth, who used to run Major League Baseball and did a collusion.
Yes.
And essentially set up the baseball strike of 1995 due to that. So, good business guy. You have State Senator Tom McClintock, who is just running on a strong anti-tax everything stance. Like, you want to do a sales tax? Fuck you. You're going to tax my car? Eat shit. That's right. Tom.
Paying for things. How do it work?
No, you don't. You privatize everything. Make the company pay for it.
Blurg.
On the Democrat side, you have Lieutenant Governor Cruz Bustamante, who, fun detail I was reading that I completely had missed. So Cruz Bustamante, the Democrats have decided that throughout this process, they're going to put most of their energy on just not getting Gray Davis recalled and doing everything they can to get every major Democrat to not run. And so Cruz Bustamante ends up being sort of like a, what's the word I'm looking for? He's kind of like a placeholder that if, worst comes to worst, there's at least a Democrat running. What I didn't catch is apparently Gray Davis and Cruz Bustamante, 3 months prior to the recall election, was the last time that either had spoken to each other.
Oh,
they were not getting along. They did not like each other.
Oh.
And so apparently when Cruz entered the race, that was like a final straw for them, where it's just like, oh, you're just doing this to undermine Gray, aren't you?
Blurg.
Yeah.
No.
And apparently the Democrats were just like, we're just not going to run anyone because we don't want to even acknowledge this process.
I get that. It's so hard. I don't think this gets appreciated enough for the Democrats. It is so hard when you, like, the other political party so often is like, at best, a toddler with too much sugar and no bedtime rules. So it's like, when you're so used to having to be the fucking adult in the room, it does make sense to be like, this is childish. We're not even going to acknowledge this. But it always comes back to bite them in the ass. And then even when they're like, okay, you know what? I'm going to play by your rules, your messed up, chaotic rules. And it still bites them. There's no winning, is what I'm saying.
I don't know if you know this, but bedtime in the Green New Deal is 8:30 p.m.
That sounds great. Sign me the fuck up. Awesome. You mean I don't have to go out after 8:30?
Such a communist, dude, I swear to God. But yeah, so you have Cruz, who's running, kind of a campaign, but it's definitely not the Democrats' main focus, but he's there. Moving more towards the left, you have independent political commentator Ariana Huffington, who is running just on pure feistiness and just portraying herself as a progressive with a couple of centrist ideas, mostly charter schools. But she does have some extremely progressive things that she is running on as well.
Yeah, and she has that European je ne sais quoi.
Yeah, exactly. You hear her talking and you're just like, I feel like I should put on a tie.
She's like, I am charmed.
Yeah. And then finally, you have the Green Party nominee, Peter Camejo, who got kicked out of the Socialist Workers Party because they said, you know what, instead of appealing to people who work in factories, we should just get jobs in factories and then slowly convince people to join our party. And he said, no, I'd rather just read. And then they kicked him out and he joined the Green Party.
I mean, it's important to know yourself.
It really is. Especially after hearing Peter Camejo talk, he would not last at least a couple days in a factory. I'm sure when he was younger, he probably could have, but in the 80s, he was probably at that point where it's just like, my knees are dust. I don't know what you expect me to do here.
And it's such a long con.
God.
Do you people even recognize how long a con this is?
I'm sure the highfalutin thinkers in the party are just like, within a week, we're going to hear them talking about how unfair work standards are there. And instead, they're going to have to stand at least 4 months of football talk that they need to catch up on very fucking quickly.
Very quickly. They have not done any of the research.
All right. Which football team is the best at supplying means to the worker?
Yeah, I'm aware of the Bulls. Is that close?
I'm pretty sure they would know a lot about the Packers since technically it's owned by the citizens of Green Bay.
Yeah, they'd all be Packers fans, but then they'd find themselves in Detroit.
Oh, no.
It's the worst of all situations.
Oh my God. It's one of these days I will do an episode on the Socialist Workers' Party because I would say out of all the communist fracture parties, it's the one that just frustrates me to no goddamn end. So that's where we are. We have a big six. But one of the things I promised at the end of the last episode is we're going to talk about everyone who finished in the top 10 because the top 10 really kind of are the best example as to why people considered this election to be such a fucking circus. And so we're going to start with the finisher in 10th place, a woman by the name of Mary Carey. Now, Mary was born Mary Ellen Cook in 1980 in Cleveland, Ohio. When she was 3 months old, her grandparents would bring her into their home due to a mix of her parents getting a divorce, but also due to her mother's severe schizophrenia. When Mary was 7, she would move with her grandparents and her mother to Florida and became legally adopted by her grandparents. And while in Florida, Mary would begin ballet lessons and became obsessed. She would debut at the age of 12 at the Miami City Ballet in a production of The Nutcracker, which I assume is probably most kids' introduction into professional ballet.
100%. Still, good job.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's not like, oh, you're 12, you live in Miami, get the fuck on stage.
Yeah, Nutcracker. Wow.
Yeah.
No, that's just like fucking hard.
Yeah, ballet is. Yeah, let's see us ballet.
Yeah. I'd rather not.
Nope, my toes barely work flat, let alone 1 point. So she would end up parlaying this into attaining admittance into a prestigious local ballet school. And by her mid-teens, Mary was beginning to get scholarship offers from various collegiate dance programs. But Mary would have 2 major catastrophes when she turned 16. First, her grandparents' health took a massive hit. Her grandmother had been suffering from Parkinson's disease, and her condition was worsening at the time. And on top of that, her grandfather had been diagnosed with a highly aggressive lung cancer, and within months he would die. And on top of that, the ballet world would turn completely against Mary due to the biggest enemy of classical dance, puberty.
Oh, no.
You see, the world of ballet prizes women who are slim in every possible regard. And as Mary's breasts began to grow beyond the ideal dance size, she was directly told that if she wanted to continue ballet, then she would need to immediately get a breast reduction. And you know what? Lose some weight while you're at it. Yeah, it's the ballet gymnast curse.
Mm-hmm.
And these are really great things to tell any teenager. They're going to deal with it well. They're going to really take it into serious consideration. They're going to be like, oh, breast reduction. Of course, I should probably consider the health of my lower back. And perhaps there are grants that I could use for this because clearly that's what these people are thinking.
Yeah, or holistically, I'm thinking like, well, what are my options as a young, intelligent woman?
And so Mary told the ballet world to just fuck right off. And she ended up continuing other forms of less body-shaming forms of dance.
For her.
And she would enter Florida State and join the university's dance team. However, her grandmother's health would deteriorate even further, and funds that had been planned for Mary's tuition had to suddenly be rerouted to her grandmother's care. Needing a sudden boost in cash, Mary began looking for any work she could find that didn't pay bullshit below living wage. And pretty much the only option available was work as a model on an adult website. And she would shift from photo work to stripping, and then pornography. It was during her time as a stripper she found out the best way to get money was to be a featured dancer, and featured dancers were only people who were within that industry. Otherwise, you're always just kind of going to be on the side and be like supporting cast. And so in 2002, she moved to Los Angeles, changed her name to Mary Carey, landed a job as a host on Playboy TV, and quickly began to grow her filmography. But why would Mary, in the midst of her porn career, suddenly decide to run for governor? The answer is publicity. Is a publicity stunt.
Oh, okay.
So in 2003, Mary had just signed on to become a featured performer for Kick-Ass Pictures. Now, the porn industry is really weird in the fact that they're one of the few industries, at least at this time, that was still operating under a studio system in Hollywood, where instead of just kind of working wherever the fuck you want, you get signed by a studio for like a year or two, you do a fuck ton of movies, and then you move on and see who else is going to hire you. And so she had just gotten hired by Kick-Ass Pictures, and she wasn't exactly a really big name yet. So when this recall started to happen, the guy running the company, who was a Republican donor and very politically minded, was just like, hey, this is going to be the best way to get your name out in a national form. So they got the paperwork together, got Mary to run as an independent. And it's kind of weird to say, but the non-joke campaign promises that she made and a few of the joke ones are actually really good.
Love this.
So her platform included 11 promises. 1, legalize same-sex marriage. 2, tax breast implants. 3, make lap dances tax deductible. 4, wire the governor's mansion with webcams and create a pay site to raise funds for the government.
I've heard worse ideas. Look, that's what I'm going to say.
I think it's a decent idea. I don't know if it violates the Hatch Act or any other sort of thing like that. I think that's something that we'd have to look into.
That's such a good point.
Also, Mary, I get that you're the person living there. There are a ton of other people who are going to be on your staff who I do not think are going to be,
There's just going to be so many blurred out faces. It's not the real world.
Just a fuck ton of awkward lobbyists. And look, so there was a video of her campaigning. She kind of lives on awkward energy. Like, she just loves making weird dudes awkward.
This is so beautiful.
She's just genuinely goddamn funny and pretty fucking charming. The one thing is when she's running, she she has moved the porn star personality up to about 100. She is just like jumping for no reason all the time. Bras are not a part of the campaign fund. She is high-pitched voice the whole time. You hear her talk nowadays and she's just like very calm, very well thought out, very chill.
Yeah.
But this is a publicity stunt. You have to get fucking attention.
Yeah.
He is all goddamn in.
She's a performer. This is a
Exactly.
bit.
Thing 5, create a porn for pistols buyback program.
Oh, see, I kind of love that. It wouldn't
Me too.
work, but yeah.
I mean, I think it would have had a better chance to work in 2003 when internet speeds weren't exactly what you would call good.
Yeah. I guess I just assume like the people who are all like, you can take my gun from my cold dead hand are more like ideologically connected to the gun
Yeah.
than they are to porn.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I think it's why a lot of gun buyback programs typically don't work.
Yeah.
But I think it's an interesting twist on it.
It's something. It's better than nothing.
Yeah, it gets people talking. It's alliteration.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty
Yes.
solid.
Yeah.
6, be a goodwill ambassador to attract more business to the state. 7, have people who are receiving unemployment become the primary choices for jury duty.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, I mean, it gives you something to do. I will say, as someone who spent a decent chunk of time unemployed during the Great Recession, the worst part is not having anything to do every day.
Yeah. And the panic that this will be your life forever.
100%. So even just going out to serve jury duty after, filling out applications and things like that, it's something good to do to get you outside and kind of, surround you with people and keep you going.
And you get a day rate. Like,
Exactly. Yeah. You get a day rate. You get a chance to
some
really
money.
kind of think through things. You get a chance to do a lot of good stuff. I think it's a really great idea. So number 9 is one that I have too much knowledge about. Fight the U.S. Department of Justice and their fight against the porn industry. So, Una, when I was at Northwestern, one of the first classes I took was about the culture war. And I got to write a wonderful paper on obscenity law and how it was used in the 2000s.
oh,
Because at the time, people in the porn industry were completely freaked out because they assumed that now a Republican was going to come in, that there were going to be all these huge crackdowns all over again, just like when Reagan was president. And people were incredibly worried, to the point that Larry Flynt actually got one of his lawyers to put together a list of things that Reagan had found obscene and things that had historically been found obscene, such as interracial pornography and any sort of LGBTQ pornography. And the porn industry was very prepared to be like, okay, we can't do any of this just to be
oh,
safe.
wow. Oh,
And then-
no.
And then 9/11 happened.
Ah.
And the Department of Justice was essentially like, we have other things to do.
Oh, my God. We don't care.
Yeah. And so during the entire Bush administration, only 3 people were found guilty of obscenity or even charged with obscenity during that time. One was a couple that essentially harassed the government into suing them, which is always a bad idea.
Yeah, that's on you.
One was a dude who made like really, I'm not going to say just because I don't want to have any like warnings ahead of time, but it's like he definitely deserved it.
Mhm.
And 3, the guy who created Two Girls, One Cup. He has a long history and he's one of the few people in America in recent history to be found guilty of obscenity.
Amazing.
Yeah. So yeah, this idea of fighting the Department of Justice and their fight against the porn industry was kind of the thing at the time because that couple who had been like goading the government into suing them was just like, all right, fine. And so that
Mhm.
trial was going on at the time and they were actually winning for the most part, but they just ran out of pro bono money. Thing 10, allow bars to stay open until 4 a.m.
That's common courtesy in Chicago.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, well,
It can
only 5
happen.
bars can stay open until 5 a.m. and they all are terrible. And finally, actually try to fight the AIDS epidemic.
Oh,
So as a platform, I think it's really fucking solid. There are some jokes in there, but even the jokes kind of bring up some decent conversations. Like, I don't know how you tax lap dances. That's gonna, like, you're gonna have to get a very specific accountant to make that work.
yeah. We're trying to get Adam Carolla to throw us some donation money.
Look, a lap dance is typically going to be $20, but there's a 10% tax to this. So 22, we do not give change.
But you can write it off.
Exactly. Yeah. Just be sure to keep your receipts and hide
Keep
them.
the, yeah,
from
keep
everyone.
the receipt. Remember which credit card you used.
Yeah, remember which notebook is marked private, do not read. So, in the end, Mary wouldn't win the election. But by 2004, she had become a huge name in the industry. The AVN Awards, which is like the Oscars of porn, would even present her with the Best Overall Marketing Campaign Award for her gubernatorial run.
Love it.
However, by 2008, Mary would gain a new fame in one of the worst ways possible. That year, she would appear on VH1's Celebrity Rehab, a show focused on substance use of celebrities and their attempted rehabilitation via a guy named Dr. Drew Pinsky.
Who was connected with Adam Carolla of my
Exactly.
earlier joke. Yes.
Yep, they are.
We are elder millennials. We are aware.
Oh, 100%. They used to host a show called Loveline, which was on radio in LA and then eventually was on late night at MTV where people would call in and ask everything from just like reasonable to very weird sex questions.
Yeah.
And for the most part, it was like the most sex positive show on TV at the time, probably.
Of the time, yes. And looking back, I would say it's like it was an outlet where I think if you couldn't get a hold of Dan Savage syndicated in your
Mhm.
town, like absolutely, this is the best thing for you because it certainly at least like acknowledge that sex is a positive thing in one's life and totally normal. And here are some answers to your questions. questions.
Exactly. Yeah. It's Dan Savage's Republican uncle is here to answer you questions.
Yeah, with without shame.
Yeah. And who knows, maybe half of Crazy Town will be there to like also help.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I'll just name a band that most millennials know and no one else from any other generation will. So Dr. Drew is also a doctor of internal medicine. He did work in a rehabilitative sense at a Southern California hospital as well, but he's also a COVID denying shithead.
Yeah, this is what I mean by like at the time, sure, it was okay. But like I feel like awareness of gender and sexual spectrum, it's the whole like the way that your heroes from the 90s have overall not aged well. J.K. Rowling or Josh Whedon. Yeah, it's like, oh, we thought you were great in the 90s, but then we as a culture kept moving forward.
Yeah, you taught us to learn. This is your fault.
Yeah. We grew to love ourselves and then we continued doing that.
Exactly. And so with Celebrity Rehab, it's a show that's faced a lot of criticism, predominantly because the success rate isn't typically high, mainly because it's a show that's trying to entertain more than it is trying to help. Most, or at least the biggest examples, there was a country singer by the name of Mindy McCready who was on the show in season 3 who would end up committing suicide the next year after the show.
Oh no.
Yeah, it was like her story is extraordinarily sad. But it's a show where a lot of people noticed, specifically Richard Marx, who, if we're going to name like Gen X singers who most everyone else doesn't know about, he had tweeted at one point that going on Celebrity Rehab is essentially the same as just postponing suicide.
Oh my god.
Yeah. He would delete that tweet, but 3 people from season 3 would eventually commit suicide at one point. Yeah. And so it was it's not the best show. And when Mary was on the show, she was addicted to Xanax at the time as well as binge drinking. But the show is just like, we can't really talk about Xanax that much, so we're just going to say it's alcohol. Because that's how substance use rehabilitation works. You completely ignore half the problem and just focus on one thing.
Yeah. Also, why? Like, too
complicated. You got to narrow it down.
No, Big Pharma was probably just like a major advertiser.
Yep,
it was like cut to commercial, and it's like Luminex and some green fairy flirting around someone who can now sleep at night but also has depression.
Look, that fen ain't gonna fuck up America on its own. And so while she was on the show, Drew made the point that the only way he was sure that she would get sober is if she quit the porn industry. And look, there are a lot of things going on in the porn industry. There's a lot of things that are really not great. And I think in retrospect, especially now as more women are taking leadership roles within the industry, it's getting better and a lot more positive. But if you're just going to say the reason that you're addicted to drugs and alcohol is because you have sex for money, that is not a good rehabilitative thing, especially because one of the big things that pushed Mary into drug use is that her mother had attempted suicide that year. And she was having difficulty dealing with that.
Come on. Yeah.
And so to get through the show, she said, all right, I will quit doing porn, and, moved on. And huge shock, it didn't help. So Mary would officially return to porn in 2009 in a movie called Celebrity Pornhab with Dr. Screw.
That'll show him.
Yeah, it is. There's a trailer for it on YouTube. It just sounds like a Second City intro to improv class that has no one moderating anything.
Oh no.
It is. I pity the sound designer on that. Whoever was operating the boom, I hope got bought many drinks.
Oh, no.
But it does appear, though, that at some point she did end up getting proper help. She's kicked Xanax as well as binge drinking. In 2013, she was inducted into the AVM Hall of Fame. Currently, she's married to a physician. And as of this year, she's running for governor again.
Mazel. We love to see it.
It's great. I'm very excited to see her new platform and unironically probably love it. So coming in 9th, George B. Schwartzman. You know that guy, the guy we all know and love, George Schwartzman. So I have no clue how or why this guy ended up breaking out of the pack of 135 other relative unknowns. But look, all right, so George was born in 1945 in Buffalo, New York. He grew up there. He then went to the University of Kentucky and in 1967 got a degree in business administration. He then moved to Orange County, California, and in 1970 started working for the Picker Corporation as a sales manager, I think for x-ray machines. Sorry, after talking about Mary Carey, I know this is probably way too hot.
This is so... so beige. This is...
It's so unfair to make anyone follow Mary Carey in any regard.
I'm also insulted that he's 9 and she was 10.
It's really fucking weird. There is an explanation though, and it's so dumb.
Okay.
So after that, in 1984, he would become president of Imagine World Incorporated, which I have no fucking clue what they did. It's a generic name of a company. I can't find fucking anything about it.
Amazing.
I'm sure it's something in the medical product field. And he ran that company until 1997. Then he jumped ship to Urology Services Incorporated, where I'm pretty sure he just sells catheters or something of that sort.
Good money to be made, according to the commercials on Late Night Fox.
Look, how hard could it be to make a catheter, Una? You get some tubes, you cut them up, Got a catheter.
I mean, what tubes are we talking about, Dusty?
Well, small ones. I'm not a monster.
But you need the smallest.
Well, I mean, we'll go to Party City or Home Depot. We'll figure it out. How hard can this be? Be the My Pillow of catheters.
Honestly, maybe this is the grift for us.
Just catheters, faulty catheters.
But it's like, you know what? I'm not even, for the benefit of our listeners, I'm not even going to go down the road of how I would make a crappy catheter. I don't want anyone having that imagery for the rest of the episode.
I mean, I am glad that the B plot of this podcast is us trying to figure out our ultimate grift and leaving this behind.
But I will say what I would do is like, it wouldn't be a catheter so much as like what they put on cow udders. It would be like a
Like a milking machine.
Yes. Yeah. And
But
so
for urine.
that's right. Because I'm assuming we're selling this to the male population. So you take a Diva cup and you attach the hose to that.
Fuck, we're gonna ruin Shark Tank. It's gonna be great. We're gonna call it the Dudva Cup.
Yes, Dusty, genius.
This is great. No one steal this. This is millions. This is gonna end with us in the Cayman Islands or prison. What were we talking about? Politics? Yeah. All right.
We were talking about George Schwartzman, who was so boring that I had to think of a new way to cath.
So George's campaign would focus on 10 key issues, and not gonna lie, I blanked out for most of them. It's just like you could hire like that fake robot that makes Olive Garden commercials. You could
Oh my
hire it to
God.
do that, and it'd be about the same. But there are some kind of interesting ones that are put in there because a lot of George's stances are kind of Republican-esque. Most notably, that he supports all the racist ideas in Prop 187. But when we start digging in deeper, here are some of the other things that George wants to do. He would allow school districts to sell naming rights to their elementary, middle, and high schools. The example that he uses would be changing Woodbridge High School to the Home Depot High School of Irvine.
That's not a world I want to live in.
I mean, George believed it would raise millions of dollars for schools and have no repercussions whatsoever. The thing that I find funny about this is he also wants to ban junk food sales in all schools, which is going to make it really weird when like high school brought to you by Hershey. Thing.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Skittles Senior High School.
Look, if there's anything I know about kids, they love corporate rulers and they respond well to it. I mean, then again, Skittles High School would probably actually go over really well.
The playoffs for any sport would be so awkward because it would be like KY Jelly Senior High School versus Skittles Come Taste the Rainbow Magnet School.
And the thing that sucks is it would probably change. The name of your school would probably change every year.
It would have to, because it would not be that much money.
What are you going to sign a 20-year deal to be named after a company that's out of business next year? Do you want to be the Pets.com middle school?
Because the Pets.com middle school had to turn into a charter.
I do love the idea that if this was around today, there would be at least 15 Dogecoin elementary schools. Ah, God damn it. Anyway, so you know me. I love me a good train. I love me a good train platforms. And George wants to make a bullet train between LA and San Diego that would take an hour, and one between LA and San Francisco that would take 3 hours. I'm on board. Fucking train me up.
Yeah.
But then he gets into some stuff that seems more personal.
Oh, amazing.
So he wants to use state governments to remove the powers of homeowner associations, which I mean, a lot of homeowner associations suck, but this seems to be more of a fight between you and some dude. On top of that, he wants to strengthen fathers' rights and battle the, quote, abuses perpetuated by the divorce attorney industry. I bet you cannot guess George's marital status.
Oh.
Here's a fun quote. As one who is sick and tired of having my windshield cracked and my car dented by uncovered gravel trucks, I favor strict enforcement penalizing gravel trucks and other vehicles from emitting spillage onto our freeways, highways, and streets. So he got divorced. The homeowners association told him his fence was too high. And on top of that, he found a crack in his fucking windshield. I'm running for governor.
Yeah.
The catheters on ice.
I'm running for governor and I'm not paying alimony until I win.
And finally, quote, most oversized SUVs are not purchased for functionality, but as a status symbol for family identity. I favor a surcharge and licensing fees for oversized SUVs.
Oh, his wife's new husband bought a sick SUV.
Look, have you met Chad? That dude drives a fucking Jeep Renegade. I'd fuck Chad. That dude is great. And have you seen his lawyer? Dude runs a homeowners association.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of personal shit going on here.
Yeah, there's plenty to read between the lines.
Oh my God. So how the fuck does this guy come in nice?
Yes, thank you. Aside from just basic misogyny.
Well, I mean, George has a theory, and he's very quick to brush it away, but it's also right. So it turns out George's name was right beneath Arnold's name on the ballot, and this is a ballot that's about 7 pages long. And so the margin of error for people who meant to vote for Arnold Schwarzenegger but accidentally voted for George Schwartzman is pretty much the number of votes that he got. Congratulations, 9th place.
No one voted for you. They voted for Schwarzenegger, but they didn't bring their ruler.
Yep. You got Buchanan in Florida, my dude.
You did. You really did.
So after running, George would return to the medical industry, I assume, and immediately shifted his focus for preparing for his daughter's wedding 2 weeks after Election Day.
He was trying to do this, and his daughter was getting married?
Yep.
George.
Look, sometimes you're just one gravel truck away from running for office and ignoring your family. 8th place, let's go there. So finishing 8th would be easily the second most famous actor in the whole race, a fellow by the name of Gary Coleman.
Gary Coleman ran?
Yep, Gary Coleman ran.
Wow.
So for those of you who don't know who this fellow is, Gary was born in 1968 in Zion, Illinois, and was adopted shortly thereafter. Now, Gary would be born with a congenital kidney disease that would limit his growth to 5'8", and also kept his facial appearance to be very childlike for the rest of his life. And if you're a Hollywood type, this is the sort of thing that makes your brain explode with cash-filled possibilities.
Mm-hmm.
And Gary was a pretty decent child actor. And he would end up becoming one of the most famous kid actors of the early 80s, playing Arnold Jackson on the show Different Strokes, apostrophe between the F and diff and the rest of the rent. So the show, you say the plot of the show now, it seems a little fucked up, but the show is about a rich white business widower who lives in a fancy Manhattan apartment who adopts 2 black kids from Harlem.
Yep. Yeah, things that got greenlit so quickly back then when the coke was flowing.
Look, I mean, Hogan's Heroes in and of itself is kind of fucked up. It's like a show about a Nazi prisoner of war camp, but it's fucking funny.
But it's hilarious.
It's great. There's Nazis. They don't know what they're doing. It's fine. But yeah, and Different Strokes ended up becoming freakishly popular. It ran for 8 seasons. It spawned a spinoff called The Facts of Life, which itself ran for 8 seasons.
Oh, wow.
And it just had a ton of, quote, very special episodes.
Oh,
it was an 80s and 90s trope that allowed sitcoms to talk about serious subjects. And the show was also fucking cursed for the 3 main actors playing the kids of the rich white widow dad. So Todd Bridges, who played Gary's older brother, became addicted to cocaine, and 2 years after the end of the show was charged with attempted murder of a drug dealer.
Oh, no.
He would be acquitted, but in 1994, he would be arrested again after a road rage incident. But Todd would become sober, and his acting career still continues to this day. He had a reoccurring role in I believe Everybody Hates Chris.
Oh, we'd love to see it. That's great.
So he's doing really good. Dana Plato, who played Gary's sister, would be written off the show in season 6 for the crime of getting pregnant. Unable to land a new acting job, she became addicted to various substances. She would pose in Playboy in 1989 for publicity, and by 1990 was working in Las Vegas as a cashier. Mm-hmm. And in 1991, she attempted to rob a store with a pellet gun, and by 1992 was arrested for forging prescriptions for Valium.
Oh.
And by 1999, she would end up dying via a drug-induced suicide.
Oh, no.
All because she got pregnant.
And the writers couldn't keep a large purse in front of her.
Look, if there's anything I have learned from Joss Whedon, it's that when one of your actresses gets pregnant, you shame them until they leave the show.
That is, unfortunately, yes, a lesson of Joss Whedon's.
Yeah. Which leads us to Gary, the runaway star of the show, a show which apparently his parents had been using to enrich themselves. And in 1989, Gary sued his parents for stealing from his trust fund and would end up winning a $1.3 million payout in restitution. But he wouldn't end up getting this money until 1993. And in between that time, Gary tried to continue his acting career, but being a child actor is tough enough, let alone a child actor that will always look like a child no matter how old he may be. And Gary would become addicted to pills himself and would mostly get acting jobs through voiceover work. But as the acting jobs dried up, he began working part-time in hobby shops, and mainly because he had a huge hobby of toy trains and building out train sets. And so working at hobby shops gave him the opportunity to be able to get discounts on his favorite hobby while he was trying to get acting jobs. Apparently one of his larger train sets is currently in a museum in Colorado Springs, if anyone's in the neighborhood and wants to go see it.
Oh my goodness.
And so by 1998, the acting jobs were done, and he took a full-time job as a security guard. Shortly after that, he would get in an argument with a fan who grew angry when he denied her an autograph and pled no contest the assault. Essentially what happened is he was trying to buy equipment for his new security guard gig. He was looking at bulletproof vests and things like that. This woman recognized him, asked him for an autograph. He's like, no, I'm busy right now. I'm not. And he was very private too. By this point, he was not doing pictures or autographs, did not really want to be noticed. And this woman took immediate offense to him not giving her an autograph and just started berating him over his career. And then he punched her in the face repeatedly. Yeah, there's a lot of stories of Gary Coleman where it's like, oh, that's terrible. Oh, that's a worse response. The next year, he declared bankruptcy, and this was mainly due to a mix of bad business decisions, but also continual medical bills dealing with his kidney disease. And by 2003, Gary was beginning to try a career resurgence. He had been able to score a voiceover role in the video game Postal 2, which wasn't really critically acclaimed, but people really loved the series. And it would be a Bay Area alt weekly that would give Gary's career the sudden boost it needed if he was going to resurge. The editor of the East Bay Express, Stephen Buell, was particularly overcome with how ridiculous the recall election was becoming. coming. But the moment he discovered how low the threshold was to become a candidate, he stormed into the offices and pitched the ultimate prank campaign to mock the entire process. According to Buell, quote, "We'd point out the folly of replacing an imperfect but duly elected governor with an actor whose primary appeal appeared to be his fame. So the East Bay Express got in contact with Gary, pitched the idea, and after the filing deadline, the plucky Alt Weekly had got Gary Coleman on the ballot. It was going to be the ultimate prank, mocking the system and causing people to really think about how ridiculous the whole election had become, and no one fucking took it that way because no one goddamn cared."
Yeah.
According to Buell, quote, "Far from provoking high-minded discussion about the perils of Hollywood populism, we helped propel the recall into another surreal territory. Although the media world lapped up the story and Gary improvised his lines with sly humor, we soon realized there would be no larger point. Celebrity, it turned out, was the point. It probably also didn't help that Gary stated that he would be voting for Arnold Schwarzenegger anyway. And you kind of can't do a satire when your public-facing participant is undermining the whole thing on a regular basis." So 2 years after the election, Gary would move to Santaquin, Utah. He would get in occasional legal trouble, usually involving overzealous fans taking pictures of him against his will, and domestic violence issues typically instigated by Gary and his wife. He married a 22-year-old film extra from a movie that he was working on about a Mormon basketball league. And apparently she was very physically abusive to him. He was physically abusive to her. They would end up kind of splitting at some point, but still live together. It was just a very tumultuous time. And in 2010, Gary would succumb to his liver ailments and pass at the age of 42.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, there's a lot of tragic stories in this fucking recall election. It's
Yeah.
very, very weird. And then which leads us to 7th. To just probably one of the most complicated people that we will talk about, a dude by the name of Larry Flynt. So
Larry Flynt, my God, this recall had everyone.
Yep, it literally did. And I think it says a lot that the two people in the sex industry finished the best out of all the other really like bizarre candidates and industries. That like both of them finished in the top 10.
Yeah, because I feel like with the porn industry, they had the awareness to be like, oh, you know what? We should hire some out of work screenwriters and like general writers for PR.
Yeah, and they're already people who understand entertainment and how to get attention.
Yes, yes.
And so it would take a long time to cover everything in Larry Flynt's life. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to save him for a future episode. His life and views are about as complicated as they get, and I don't think it would do proper service to him, the people that he helped, or the people close to him that he caused irreparable harm to, just to hit off the cliff notes.
When you do, I will watch the
People
movie
versus Larry Flynt?
Yeah,
Yeah.
which I think has Courtney Love in it.
Yeah, Courtney Love plays his fourth wife.
Oh, Dusty, I'll do that as part of my research for
Yeah.
that episode.
Amazing. I love it. So we're going to save Larry for another day and just say for now, his campaign was all about making slot machines legal in private casinos, as he was opening his own casino at the time, declaring amnesty for all immigrants in California before creating a hard close on the border and allowing no one else in, and running as, quote, a smut peddler who cares.
Ugh, all right.
When we do that episode, it's just going to have like a minute-long trigger warning. There's too much in that man's history. Which leaves us back to our big 6. We ran through them all, so I'm not going to do it again. So going into the debates, there would be one huge bombshell. The candidate who was the most well-known and that the people were most excited about, Arnold Schwarzenegger, announced that he would not be participating in any of the televised debates until the very last one on September 24th. And there were going to be 3 more before that. And it just so happened that this would be a debate in which all the questions would be supplied to the candidates in advance.
Wait, the last one, the one that... Man, oh, sneaky.
Now, Arnold's campaign would petition the California Broadcasters Association, who are the folks running the last debate, to go ahead and keep the questions private and not to bring them out ahead of time, but they would end up declining. And the campaign didn't actually end up sending anything. They just said, oh, we'll do this. And then the California Broadcasters were like, no, we've already set the rules, and stated that if they were going to start acquiescing to what candidates wanted, then that would set a terrible precedent.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Peter Uberoth began a petition to get Arnold to show up to the first debate, which people are petitioned out, dude. There's no point for this. You don't have the time to do this. There's no fucking reason.
You're only allowed so much energy in any election. Don't spend it just trying to get some dude to a debate. Spend it on debate prep.
You know, it's funny you say that.
Oh no.
Because we're heading into the first debate. It's on September 3rd. It's going to be in the Bay Area suburb of Walnut Creek. But this debate would also be different in one other regard. Because for the first 30 minutes, Governor Gray Davis would answer questions and do his best to sway people away from recalling him. And this would be the only time before a debate where Gray Davis would get this opportunity. It should have been assigned to him that things were not going to go well.
Oh no.
And to aid him, there was a new anti-recall group to replace the Taxpayers Against the Recall. We got a new group, Una. Can you guess what the name's going to be?
Recall Taxpayers Against the Recall Committee?
That would have been better. It was called Californians Against the Costly Recall.
This is so terrible. This is so terrible. Like, I'm ashamed. Meanwhile, call up Mary Carey and ask her who she's working with.
Fucking seriously. It is
Call up your idiot cousin at USC and see who lives with him in his dorm. My God.
Look, Spencer's not an idiot. He is just skipping classes regularly. What are they going to do? Kick him out? He's a legacy. But yeah, it's just constant little bits of proof that just show that the Democrats throughout this process did not start caring and taking it seriously until it was far too fucking late. Anyway, following Gray's mini town hall, a 90-minute debate would begin with the 5 remaining major candidates who agreed to participate. And as far as debates go, it was honestly very entertaining. On one hand, you had Ariana Huffington, who, not gonna lie, very quickly became my favorite person to follow throughout this entire campaign. She is bringing this whole, I drank a half bottle of Ouzo, what the fuck did you say about me energy to this whole goddamn thing.
That is intoxicating.
She is fearless, she is feisty, and it's not like she's saying things in a mean way. It's just that very, I'm not gonna do an impression, but it's very much just like a very haute couture, like, oh, you said this about me? Well, it's very funny you would say that when you are terrible. It's just because for some reason I just had memories of being really annoyed by Ariana Huffington, but I think that also might have just been me being like a shitty kid and being like, her accent's hard to listen to. Not like the actor running. And so she zeroes in on people every time, and she's not afraid to call out hypocrisy or potential crimes. For example, Cruz Bustamante, the one Democratic hope, had been accused of accepting millions of dollars from tribal governments throughout the state, who then just so happened to gain casino licenses very quickly thereafter. And look, casinos are perfectly fine, and anything that helps indigenous nations in America is fine by me. But if the rumors were true, then Cruz is full on accepting illegal campaign contributions for favors. Whereas Ariana said right to his face, Cruz Bustamante is committing bribery.
And you can read more about it on Huffington Post.
And that's how she started the night against him.
Wow.
Was
Wow.
sitting next to him saying, you are committing bribery. Fucking sue me.
I woke up and chose violence.
She also brought up the fact that Gray Davis and Cruz seemed to accept large campaign contributions from the prison guard union right before the state awarded them a very large raise. Apparently there were rumors going around that the prison guard union went to Gray Davis and said, hey, we need a raise. And he said, well, I need $1 million. And then they gave him $1 million.
And hopefully he was like, I was joking. Here's
you.
the money back.
I mean, that would have been the smart thing to do. His name is Gray fucking Davis. He was born of a bust of Caesar and then became governor. And as a final backbreaker, when asked about the death penalty, she stated she was against it, and that it kind of has a habit of not just killing innocent people, but innocent people of color. And this was around the time that people started finally taking DNA evidence seriously and started to realize, oh shit, we've executed a lot of people who didn't do murder.
So many.
And she stated that in regards to Democrats continuing the practice of the death penalty, that they had been, quote, too spineless to speak their own mind and their own hearts.
Oh my God.
She
has no fucks to give.
She has nothing to lose. Like she is a single woman out on the fucking prowl. She learned from all of her husband's mistakes. She no longer has to support his conservative ideals. She can kind of keep a few of her own, but she has learned some shit and she is ready to speak some fucking truth.
Yeah. She's from Europe too. So it's just like, I've seen terror.
Yeah. Yes. I'm from Greece in the 50s.
Yes. The country that His Royal Highness Prince Philip escaped from in a basket as a child because it was that or death.
Good times. Meanwhile, Cruz didn't do a ton to hurt himself. He was mostly just kind of playing defense, but he also didn't say too much that was super memorable. His one big moment occurred when he was asked what he would have done differently from Governor Davis during the energy crisis, and Cruz basically answered that by saying that when the big 3 electric companies stated they needed more money or they're gonna go bankrupt, and if they did, they'd have to shut down power statewide because there'd be no more companies, he said he would have called their bluff, which, knowing what we do now, that would have been an absolute fucking catastrophe because there was no money, there was no way to get more power, and the entire state would have lost power immediately.
Yeah, just socialize it immediately. Just like, be like, oh, okay, you're bankrupt. We're coming in.
Exactly. Yeah, we're going back to the way things fucking were. Sorry about that.
Yep.
And rounding out the leftists, Peter Camejo he's there. He's taking up a chair. It kind of seems like he pitched a flat tax, which, I know is always your favorite, but not really a Green Party thing.
No, that's a George Schwartzberg. If anyone's going to flat tax us.
Make that gravel truck pay a flat tax. As flat as my windshield.
That HOA needs to be a flat tax.
But yeah, he essentially billed it as a fair tax, and the idea was making wealthy people pay the same percentage in tax as poor people do. So I get what he's saying, but at the same time, that's a flat tax, my dude. It's like...
Does he mean a flat tax like a percentage? So it's like everyone...
Yes. He wants wealthy people to pay the same percentage that impoverished people do. And, he's saying it in a way where it's like, millionaires and billionaires pay far less tax percentage and have a lot more ways to get out of paying tax and things like that. So I get what he's saying. It's just the delivery system of how he's saying it makes it sound a whole fucking fucking lot like a flat tax.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's also just like, I mean, this is the optics of 2021 and not, what was it, 2003, where you could still get away with this kind of bullshit of just like, okay, so fine, it's the same percentage, but the $5 for someone like below the poverty line and like barely making ends meet is still way different than, I don't know, 500,000 to a billionaire.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then he said something else that was just like, it was very white liberal. I mean, despite the fact Peter Cameo is Venezuelan, definitely a person of color, but this thing he says is just like, it's the sort of thing you want to shake your quote woke liberal friends for saying. So while Ariana and Cruz were arguing about the casinos on tribal land, Peter Cameo essentially interrupted the argument to say, look, I'm glad that indigenous governments are finding ways to get wealth back into native communities, but they shouldn't be doing it through casinos. It's the wrong way. It's not the morally right way to be making your money back.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're going to have to sit your ass down.
And as soon as he said that, it's like, I am done giving you any benefits of the doubt, Pete. You're done. Any dumb thing you say now is what I'm going to focus on for this podcast. It's like they're getting their fucking money back, dude. I don't care how the fuck it happens. Sit the fuck down.
Yeah. Oh God.
And then we have Tom McClintock, who took full advantage of being the furthest right person on stage and proceeded to talk about fucking taxes for the entire goddamn night. He promised he would never raise taxes under any circumstances, that he would rescind Gray's tripling of the car tax, and then destroy all contracts the state had with electric and energy companies, and reprivatize them somehow, even though they're already privatized.
Yeah. What? Burn them with the fires that we'll need now that there's no gas and electricity in the country? Or in the state, rather? Yeah. Like to see you try.
Motherfuckers have a firewood tax, I'll fucking show them. And he also pressed that he would make California one of the most business-friendly states by knocking their taxes down to nearly nothing, and reasoned this by saying, quote, let me tell you a little secret. Businesses don't pay taxes. They pay their taxes through you. Which, all of this is feeling just a tiny bit weird for a Republican to say, mainly because he's admitting that people should bear the tax burden and not businesses. It's really fucking weird. Like, he's so proud of it when he says it.
He says it, and it's like, what he's saying is basically the 3 question marks when you see those like dumb Shark Tank setups where it's like, step 1, we get the socks. Step 2, question mark, question mark, question mark. Step 3, profit. It's like, that's
no taxes.
I'm sorry. What? So we're just paying for the profit out of our own.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. But then it starts to clear up a little bit because he starts to state facts and figures from a group called the Reason Foundation. And the Reason Foundation is based in Los Angeles, and they are a libertarian think tank. That's right. We got ourselves a libertarian in elephant's clothing, motherfuckers.
So a rhino line? No, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, essentially. Yeah, he is. I mean, to be fair, he is the highest polling libertarian in the race, but he's running as a Republican.
Yes.
And so Tom stated that to fill the budget hole left behind by losing $9 billion in taxes, he would shore things up by privatizing as much of the state government as he could so they don't have to pay for it, and gutting workman's comp in the process. So apparently, I didn't dive into this because I'd go into so many other things. Apparently, there was a lot of hullabaloo over workman's comp fraud, which I don't know how there fucking could be, but they were just constantly talking about Arizona's system is better, and all the Democrats are like, no, it's bad. It's not good.
It's
And
really bad.
yeah. And so essentially just like, let's have a worse workman's comp to save money. But yeah, privatizing the government, it worked really well for Gray Davis in the end. So let's just keep it going. But really, Una, there's one story of the night. One that made my jaw drop and my mouse finger get all twitchy. I'm talking about the dumpster fire that was Peter Uberoff's debate premiere. Turns out that while Pete might be a monster in the meeting office, on TV, he kind of has the energy of an assistant professor that deep down knows he's never going to get tenure.
Oh, damn.
So he's asked questions all night, and he consistently sounds lost and desperately tries to bring everything back to his plan of bring jobs to California by bringing jobs to California. The man has no platform. He has no plan. He's just constantly there just like, California needs jobs. And clearly I've done jobs, so I can be jobs. So jobs?
He could have continued running a perfectly unknown airline into the ground. He could have been fine, but like Icarus, he slapped together some wax on paper and thought he could fly.
Dude, this is business Icarus. Like, you make enough money and suddenly think, I should run a country.
Yeah.
And, it's really not, it's honestly not entirely fair to Peter to say that his plan was simply, I bring job, so job. But literally every plan that he actually had, Tom McClintock said better and with far more energy. And oftentimes the way things are being talked is it sounded like Tom came up with the plan and Peter was just supporting it, even if Peter brought it up first.
Oh my God, he got woman in the boardroom.
I'm absolutely did every fucking time. Well, and it also didn't help that after nearly every question, he would say, I agree with another candidate on this. It made it sound like none of his ideas were his own. So even when he was pitching his own ideas, when Tom hopped on, it's like, oh, of course Tom thought of that first. He repeatedly said Tom thought of it first.
Peter, you struck out, buddy. This was not the home run you were after.
And so the weird thing about this is the more I was hearing him talk, for some reason, I kept getting this old Simpsons joke triggered. You know that bit where Lisa and Bart are in a bookstore and Lisa's all excited to get Al Gore's newest book. And then it scans and it goes to Al Gore and they're like, sir, someone finally bought a copy of your book. And he just puts on Celebrate and he just sits there calmly.
Yes, yes.
So the other part of that joke is that Lisa found an autobiography by Peter Ueberroth for 99 cents. And I'm so happy I can appreciate that joke even more now.
This is so beautiful. I'm going to find that episode and watch it now.
Yeah, Lisa overpaid. It was... But the thing is, you don't have to be a policy genius in a debate to win. If he could just steal some momentum, then he might have a chance. So when Cruz and Ariana get to arguing about the potentially illegal millions that the lieutenant governor received, when asked by the moderator how he felt about the subject, Peter said that he, quote, didn't think that campaign finance reform was a topic worth discussing.
Peter, it is always worth discussing. Any topic that gets lobbed to you is worth discussing.
These two people have opened themselves to an attack. Would you like?
Hey.
No.
Softball?
It's so fucking sad. And then like Ariana and Cruz go back to fighting again. And it gets to the point that the moderator ends up cutting them off and says, quote, this is entertaining, but not our format. The audience laughs. The moderator laughs. Even Cruz and Ariana laugh. And then Peter says, quote, it's not really a funny subject. And the room goes silent.
Wow.
Just every opportunity he has to keep the momentum going, he just like falls asleep. He just ignores it. He just wants to talk about job because job equal job.
This man has never had a doubt in his body his entire life and is only now learning about reality. Yeah, like experiencing reality.
Maybe you shouldn't become the vice president of an airplane company when you're 22. Maybe someone should tell you no at some point.
Definitely not.
And so the worst moment of the night, well, I mean, look, it's a tie between two moments, but the first worst for Peter came about 46 minutes in, and it really gives a perfect summary of how fucking unprepared this guy even was. And so for this setup, Peter is about to be asked a question by Daniel Borenstein of the Contra Costa Times in regard to Peter's claim that billions of dollars had been fraudulently claimed via California's public health care program, Medi-Cal. You get it? So we're going to listen to it.
Okay, for the next question, we go to Dan Borenstein, and you have a question for Peter Ueberroth.
Mr. Ueberroth, let's start with some of, I think, what you might see as wasting government, if you will. Reduce Medi-Cal fraud by $1.5 billion. That's what you have said. Where is that fraud? How do you document that? And given current budget constraints, are there enough state workers who would have the extra time to investigate fraud? Also, might some truly needy be inadvertently thrown off the system in the process?
So great question.
That's a great question.
Yeah. Dan is fucking coming out guns a-blazing. Excellent. Doing good work. So, and the thing is, if I were a politician, I would be super jazzed about this question because there are very clear answers that you could give to this. And if you've done your homework on a subject you care about, you can give really good answers.
Yes.
Let's see how Pete does.
Oh, no.
Basically, there is waste in government and there's fraud in government. And I don't think anybody that's listening to this program would disagree. And we have to aggressively do that, tear it out by the roots. Workers' comp is, we have the highest rates.
I'm sorry, I think my question has to do with Medi-Cal fraud.
Right. Medi-Cal fraud, for me to sit here and take you one after another after another of the fraud in Medi-Cal, it wouldn't work. There's all kinds of things that I could spend not in a 1-minute soundbite. But frankly, we all know there's Medicare fraud. The 1.5 billion is a very, very conservative estimate. Many people say it's a great deal more. But the real true thing is we've got to get revenues into the state and spend them efficiently if we're going to take care of people.
Are you satisfied by that answer?
Oh my God.
I mean, that was clear, right? You're too dumb to know what this means.
I felt like I was rubbernecking a car accident on the highway.
Well, I hate to break it to you, but the cops are stopping all the cars and you're parking right next to this train wreck, Una.
Yeah. No,
there's more.
No, but my Fitbit already thinks I'm taking a nap because his voice has lowered my heart rate in a depressing way.
He literally sounds like he just gave up on his dreams the second he was born. This hour has been the worst hour of his goddamn life.
He's hungry and he just wants to get off stage.
But here we go for more because Dan's not happy with that answer.
Good.
Let me try this one more time in the last parts of my question. How do you document that? Given current budget constraints, are there enough state workers who would have the extra time to investigate fraud? And might some truly needy be inadvertently thrown out of the system in the process? I didn't hear an answer to any of those three questions.
Well, I'm not governor yet, and when I am, I'm going to find the right people to investigate fraud. And if we have them in the state government who are really sincere about doing that, I'll find them. And if we don't, I'll have to bring them in and replace some other people that aren't doing their job.
Okay.
Doing their job in California.
Thank you, Mr. Ubroth.
So
Wow,
that's
that
clear,
was-
right?
That was 30 seconds for the statement. I don't know. That was 30 seconds to say 3 words.
You guys want to see a dead body?
Yeah, seriously. Also, Dan, where have you been the past like 6 years? I
Oh, he's
need
still
you.
working. He's like,
That's great.
I want to say he's the lead editor for the East Bay Times right now. He's still working.
Because I want his sass at
Yeah.
every debate now, where he's just like, "Hey, fuck nuts.
Yeah.
How about I give you one more opportunity to give me a goddamn response to my question?"
That's the thing that makes this debate so good is the moderator's a jovial dude. He's really kind of keeping things going. You have Dan asking really good questions. There's another moderator named Pilar Morero, and she is fucking incredible. And she was the one who delivered the next death blow to the dead body on the ground. So there was a lightning round mode for questions where they essentially is like, what's your stance on Prop 187? Do you support it? Yes or no? No long answers. And for the most part, everyone stuck to it. Peter Camejo kept like going off on his own fucking thing, but whatever. Let him have it.
Hippie.
But one of the questions that the candidates were asked was, do they support Proposition 54? Now, Proposition 54 was a voting proposal that would remove race-based statistics from government findings and studies. It was a proposition that was created by an anti-affirmative action advocate, and the general idea was it would no longer keep statistics of people of color within areas, and so it would really kind of fuck up any sorts of studies that you're trying to conduct on marginalized people.
Yeah.
So Cameo, Bustamante, and Huffington completely against it. McClintock was for it. And Peter, well, he talks about how he knows the guy who created the proposition and then just suddenly says that he doesn't know what it's even about. But I promise you that I'm going to have an opinion of it before Election Day.
Oh, Peter.
He calls himself a neophyte on the subject.
Oh.
So during his closing statement, Uberoth seemed to know how badly he had just done. It was as if for the first time in his life he felt hubris, and it didn't
Yeah.
feel good.
He became self-aware, the small wooden boy.
Oh my God. Not business, Pinocchio.
Yeah.
So Peter admitted to not being a very compelling public speaker, but that his history of business and sports stuff should be why people vote for him. And he then promised that he would only serve the remainder of Gray Davis's term if he was elected, and then leave, and then ask people for their support. Which sounds like more of a negotiation tactic than
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
Look, guys, I just need a place to stay for
This
4 years.
No, listen, I will be gone. You won't even know I was there. But
I'll let
Seriously.
Cruz do everything. It'll be okay. And then 6 days later, Peter Uberoth dropped out of the race.
ugh,
He would finish 6th overall because he's still on the ballot. And at this point, they're not reprinting 7 pages of ballots that they've already printed for the entire goddamn state.
oh my God.
And so after this run, Peter would never run for office again. He would serve on the United States Olympic Committee Board of Directors, serve on the board of multiple companies, most notably Coca-Cola, and would be inducted into the USA Water Polo Hall of Fame in 2010, despite the fact, as we've noted, he never made the national water polo team. And I think probably just got in there because he was, got the Olympics in America.
Yeah. And a name, I guess.
I mean, I want the Water Polo Hall of Fame to be a neat trip, but I'm sure it's not.
No.
It does look very fun to play, though. Now, there was a second debate between this one and the next one I'm covering, but it wasn't on C-SPAN, so I'm good with just moving past it and pretending it never happened. Especially because this next debate would be the one where Cruz Bustamante would fill the weird momentum vacuum left behind by Peter Uberoth. So this time around, 4 out of the 5 major candidates would meet in Los Angeles and subject themselves to the horrors of the League of Women Voters. And by that I mean a very solid debate with a very humanizing lightning round.
Hey.
Or at least it should have been.
Oh no.
You see, one very big issue had to be the forefront of Cruz Bustamante's mind, and that was the fact that the recall Davis support had been growing to the point that it legitimately looked like he would get removed, which meant that Cruz was no longer just running for Gray. He now had to shift and figure out a way to beat the biggest movie star of the 80s and 90s 2 weeks before Election Day. And let's face it, Arnold is a man of unstoppable charisma, and Cruz, I mean, he's a lieutenant governor. There have been very few cool lieutenant governors, and they typically move on to cooler things. And look, Cruz knows his shit, but it's very safe and very sanitized shit. So to open up the debate, he pitched an idea to all the candidates, and this is like a big fucking swing. Since Arnold chose not to attend this debate, we should all boycott the final debate. And if Arnold wanted to memorize his lines before his only debate, then they should just let him be alone on TV and run their own debate outside. And his pitch was met with very polite looks of, Cruz, buddy, no.
Again, this is happening.
Yeah.
You need to get on board.
Like, was this your big plan? Because you should have run it by us before the cameras came on, man.
He's doing it live.
He did
You're
it
already
live.
there.
He did it live in his opening statements. Like, I don't understand in what world, like, how many, like, two Republicans, an independent and a Green, will be like, yeah, let's do what the establishment hack wants us to do. Let's save this guy. And so, weirdly enough, that cordiality of just like, Cruz, you can't be doing this, man, would actually stick for a little bit. And for a while, it kind of seemed like Ariana and Cruz were getting along, almost like they'd kind of become friends.
Enemies to lovers?
I mean, just because Cruz was actually starting to get a little feisty back at Ariana, but it sounded more of just like sparring partners, like a Beatrice and Benedict sort of situation.
Ooh.
And there was a moment where Ariana is like, I really like this new feisty side of you, to which he said, I learned it from you, Ariana.
I'm eating this up.
Look, I did too, for a solid minute.
Oh no.
And then there was a moment where Ariana was like, hey, I have a piece of legislation that I would really like your support to push forward. Because if Cruz is going to push the live, do some shit with me thing, Ariana's going to do it too. To which he responded, I don't think you have any idea how to write policy. Yeah. And so when he said that, look, it wasn't just like women can't write policy, but that's kind of how I heard it.
And for those at home, who's hosting this debate?
Oh, I believe the League of Women Voters.
Yeah.
Um,
Cruz.
Well, and she responded with, yeah, of course I didn't write it. I wrote it with policy makers. I wrote it with experts. We put together a very well thought out policy, and I would like for you to read it. It was just one of those moments where it's like, all right, this is my breaking point with you. And so for the most part, the debate questions covered a lot of the same ground as the previous one. But the lightning round did a pretty great job of showing off the personalities of the candidates. And I'm going to describe this moment as what I would call a Santorum moment, mainly because not in a bad way, weirdly enough. So back during the 2012 election, there was a roundtable debate early on between all the Republican candidates. And when I say roundtable, it was actually around a round table. There was a beautiful cornucopia in the center, and it was set up so that all the candidates had to look at each other during the entire debate. And it ended up being like a really cordial, interesting debate where people were exchanging ideas. No one was really going after everyone just because you had to look at the person you were talking to.
What a
And
concept.
it was a debate in which I viewed Rick Santorum as a human being for about 5 minutes, because there was a moment where they said, why are you so strongly against abortion? And Rick began to tell a story of when he and his wife were pregnant. The baby ended up being stillborn. And they were so overcome with grief that they requested that they bring the body home with them for a week. And, people deal with grief in a lot of different ways. And this is not an uncommon reaction whenever, there's a child who dies stillborn.
Mhm.
And he stated during that time, seeing that child, all he could see whenever he thought of abortions later on was his child, that fully formed child. And yeah, it's a completely misrepresentation of what an abortion is. But in that moment, I get it. I understand the human reason behind why you are so fervently against it. It's wrong, but I get it.
You're way off. This is a powerful Marvel villain origin story.
Trauma fucks us in completely different ways, but it fucks
100%.
us all the same.
It's also like, I would not wish that on his family ever again.
Yeah.
That is like truly heartbreaking.
Yeah. And so there's a moment in this debate where one of the lightning round questions is, do you own a gun? And Tom McClintock is the first to answer it. And he says, yes. He was like, oh, well, what is the reason that you own it? He immediately says protection. And the League of Women Voters moderator, she asks, well, has there ever been a moment that you've actually had to use it for protection? And there's like a little bit of like an LA titter in the audience of like, oh, I bet he never has. I bet that's just a thing. And he says, yeah, my family and I were threatened by a person who claimed that they were a representative of God, and they were tasked with killing me and my family. And the moment that we found out that person existed, I went out and I bought a gun. And the room went dead fucking silent.
Oh, okay, yeah, that tracks for LA.
Yeah. And it's just like, okay, Tom, you are,
All
at
right.
this moment, you are a human I could fucking respect. But this would also set up the first of the various shitty moments for Cruz. Because Peter Cameo, of course, said no, Ariana said no, and Cruz said, yes, I do own a gun. I own a deer hunting rifle. And the moderator says, oh, how often do you go hunting? And he just kind of gives this canned sigh, and he's like, well, it's been many, many years since I've been able to go deer hunting. And the audience kind of murmurs in this way of just like, oh, you own this gun as a prop. This is like your... I need to impress the fucking yokels. So of course I own a deer hunting gun. I haven't touched it in fucking decades, but it's there if you wanna check my bona fides.
Right.
And this kind of became the entire theme throughout the lightning round for him.
Oh no.
They asked, what's your favorite book? McClintock loves Milton Friedman's book. Ariana enjoys Plato's Republic because she read it in the original Greek in college.
All right, Ariana.
I knew you'd love that.
So extra.
Yeah. And Cruz, his favorite book is The Greatest Generation by Tom Brokaw, which, not a bad book, but it's also just a super safe choice, seeing as how it was one of the best-selling books of the late 90s and early 2000s. And really
It's
just
like-
kind of feels pandering.
Yeah. It's like, that's your most favorite book. Like, why not just say the Bible at that point?
I know. Well, the reason why he said that, I think it's a little clearer in the next one, because it was like, do you have a favorite movie? Ariana says she loves Legally Blonde too, because she finds a lot in common with a feisty blonde woman taking on DC politics. Peter Cameo says he doesn't have one because he hadn't been to the movies in years, and we get it. You don't own a TV.
Oh my
God.
God.
And Cruz, his favorite movie is Errol Flynn's Robin Hood. And again, it's not a bad movie. But you said you love The Greatest Generation. You love a movie made, your favorite movie was made in 1938. It kind of sounds like someone told you that you're polling really bad with the olds and you need to take as many chances as you can to get them on your side.
100%. Yes. Because wait, how old is Cruz?
So at this time, he is exactly 50.
Yeah.
Or actually, he's 50.
So he's a baby boomer. You're going to tell me your
Yeah.
favorite movie is Errol Flynn,
Yeah.
Robin Hood,
Yeah.
and not, I don't know, The Graduate?
Yeah, you grew up in the golden age of Hollywood in the late 60s and throughout the
Truly.
70s. Fucking how? How is this your favorite movie?
Easy Rider, Bonnie and Clyde, hell, even Casablanca.
Yeah. Yes, there are so many amazing movies you could have picked, and it's weird. It's just weird. And it could very well be true, but it just feels so fucking
But at this,
fake.
yeah.
And throughout the debate, while the candidates got some genuine laughs and had some really human moments, it became all the more apparent just of how uncharismatic Cruz really was and how often his attempts at humor just fell flat.
Oh God, that for me is worse than watching ice figure skating. Just in terms of like cringing, it hurts so much.
And it just became all the more obvious that it's like, you need to defeat Arnold Schwarzenegger, and there is no way you're going to do it acting like this. So, of course, 5 days after the debate, Ariana's claims of bribery would turn out to be completely true. Cruz would be found guilty of illegally using $4 million donated to him by tribal governments and prison guard unions to boost his campaign. He would only incur fines, but it was also discovered that a tribal government acting on behalf of Cruz ran commercials supporting Tom McClintock as a way to cut into Arnold's popularity.
Oh my God.
So, a great bombshell to happen just a couple of days before the final debate.
See, this is a Dems in disarray. Everything else
100%.
is just complete hyperbole, but this is totally Dems in disarray.
So going into the final debate, polls found that the state was split 50-50 on the recall. But despite Cruz's less than grand debate performance and his bribery coming to light, he still was polling just well enough to win. Arnold was behind him by 2%, with Tom McClintock a distant third. The problem, though, was that according to the same poll, 67% of Californians stated that the final debate would ultimately decide who they were going to vote for.
It's the final countdown.
We can't afford that.
And we can afford like 2 seconds. Or yeah, there's like I think it's like after 6 seconds.
Oh, right.
Because
All right.
they'll have snippets on like wait, don't tell me of
That's a
popular
good
songs.
point. Take that, common law.
Yeah. All right.
But the Republicans, they're kind of panicking on their end as well. Because if Arnold's only behind by 2%, they need to get Tom McClintock to drop out as soon as fucking possible. And guess what? He's not going to do it.
Of course not. He's got his gun and he's got his image to protect.
Yeah, he's going to fucking fight against every tax known to man, and you can't fucking stop him. So going into the final debate at Sacramento State, there were just enough variables for nearly anyone to take the lead. In theory, mainly because Cruz Bustamante was fucked before he even set foot on stage. Because you remember how Cruz was all about saying we should boycott this next debate because Arnold's been given an unfair advantage because he's an actor. He's going to memorize his lines. He's not actually going to fucking debate. Well, it turns out this debate would be moderated by a dude by the name of Stan Statham. Initially, Stan was a news director for a CBS affiliate in Chico, California. He would, however, leave that job to serve as a Republican state assemblyman from 1976 to 1994. And while that might be innocent in and of itself, Stan's primary cause is a bit out there. See, Stan was a huge supporter of the State of Jefferson movement. So the state of Jefferson is a proposed new state that would include rural communities in Northern California and Southeast Oregon, and via secession would make them their own state, but remain a part of America.
Now,
Now,
this has popped up recently again. There's this like
it absolutely has.
West Idaho is what they're calling it now, or
Yeah.
something like that. Anyway,
Uh-huh.
yes. Oh boy. Oh
Yeah.
boy.
And so the state of Jefferson flag is kind of like a gaudy traffic yellow circle that's meant to look like a gold mining pan with 2 X's in the center to represent the double cross residence field from politicians in Sacramento and Salem, Oregon.
Oh,
Gross.
wanking motion.
we
Shut up.
So the State of Jefferson movement started in 1941 and hit its peak in November of that year when a group of armed men stopped traffic on Route 99 and handed out their proclamation of independence to every car that sought to pass through. The group promised to, quote, secede every Thursday until further notice. And that further notice ended up being when Pearl Harbor got attacked. Because it's like, you're kind of not very popular if you're a secession movement during the beginnings of World War II. People rightfully were like, we got to shut this down.
Yeah.
And the movement would have a resurgence in the late 80s, and our good old moderator, Pal Stan, would bring about an advisory vote in 31 counties in 1992, asking if the state should split from Cali and into Jefferson. The county supported the idea, and Stan brought it to the state assembly, where the bill immediately died in committee. And then 11 years later, they're like, who would be good to moderate the most watched debate in American history?
Good Lord.
Well, it's also because Stan became the president of the California Broadcasters Association after he left. And so since the California Broadcasters Association is running the debate, he's the one who gets to decide how it's run. And Stan is not fucking happy that Cruz Bustamante has come out and said that this debate is rigged.
Good
Stan
Lord.
uses his opening statement to say, this debate debate was created fairly without intervention from any of the candidates. And the reason that we produced the questions early is because we wanted the people of California to see the questions, to have time to think them over privately and come to their own conclusions before the debate, which is bullshit. But it is also a very great way for the moderator to look Cruz Bustamante in the face and say, I heard what you said. I will fuck you tonight. And to make things even more fun, the debate style for the night was going to be free-for-all argument.
Oh my God.
You know, the type of atmosphere in which a tough guy with a booming voice would have the greatest advantage. The moderator essentially said, we are going to allow you to argue, to interrupt each other, to dive in with opinions, and we'll moderate occasionally, but people at home, let us know how you think this works. And Cruz Bustamante, with his kind of laid-back, calm, politician voice, he's doomed.
Wow.
He's fucking doomed.
Wow.
But the moderator also seemed to have it out against Ariana as well, because anytime she would go over a minute, he would admonish her, but everyone else was allowed to go for as long as they fucking wanted.
Oh, that's some bullshit.
Yeah. But hey, if you're one of the thousands of people watching, it's because you're there to see Arnold. And he is, well, he portrays himself pretty much as a charismatic Peter Uberoth. His answers are vague, but he has the personality to dance around the question. Initially, he would target Cruz, but it would take minutes for Arnold and the audience to realize that there was nothing Bustamante could say or do to defeat him. So many times, Cruz would retort to something Arnold said, and the joke would either fall flat, or worse, he would try to retort while the audience was still busy laughing at something Arnold said, making him sound just so pathetic in the entire time.
Oh my God.
Which then allowed Arnold to go after his real target, Ariana. Now, Huffington was not polling well, but if anyone on that stage had the opportunity to match his charisma and embarrass him, it would be her. In 2012, Arnold would state as much in an interview, stating, quote, I felt that when I was debating, my strength was not policy. My strength was me. Therefore, I went there and I did not let myself get down into policy details. When he got into details, I'd rather use comedy, humor. So he chose to display his comedy humor by going after, quote, this whiny woman,
Boo.
labeling her as the perfect target.
Boo. Listen, Americans are thirsty for an accent. I can see how you would want to defeat the other sexy accent among you. But she's the only woman on stage too.
Oh, 100%.
Right?
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And the thing that sucked is Ariana had a tell whenever she was going to go after someone, and it's a very polite one. When she was about to attack you, she would address you by name right in the beginning. And so using this against her, anytime she said the name Arnold, he immediately interrupted her and began talking over her before she could even get her attack out.
Oh, yikes.
At the 30-minute mark, he interrupted her again when she said his name, but this time she says, this is completely impolite. We know this is the way you treat women. We know that, but not now. And this was years before people would find out about his multiple affairs and the way that he treats women in private.
Ariana knew. She knows
Mhm.
everything.
But it definitely struck a nerve. And from here on out, Arnold wouldn't give Ariana even a moment without retort. Cruz Bustamante, Peter Camejo, and even Tom McClintock just fell into the background. So much so that the next day, the only people mentioned in the great majority of newspaper articles were Arnold and Ariana. And 5 days later, people had the data to back up what they had just seen. Now, 55% of Californians supported the recall, and Arnold had stormed into the lead with 40% of the vote, followed by Bustamante with 25%, McClintock with 18%, Camejo with 5%, and Ariana with 2%.
Oh my gosh.
And the day after the poll was released, Ariana Huffington would drop out of the race live on Larry King and endorse Gray Davis. And Ariana would finish in 5th. 2 years later, she founded the Huffington Post alongside Kenneth Lehrer, John Peretti, and, I didn't know this, Andrew Breitbart.
No.
Yep.
Wow.
And the Huffington Post would become a respected news outlet. It won its first Pulitzer in 2012, and Ariana would end up leaving the paper in 2016 to found Thrive Global, which is, it's kind of vague, but it seems to be a wellness company with a focus on reducing stress in the workplace. So, it's pretty noble. So I'll bring it up really quickly. I was going to do a whole section on the 5th debate that the Game Show Network hosted called Do You Want to Be Governor of California, the debating game?
No.
The grand prize was $21,200, which was the maximum campaign contribution. And they ended up getting 6 candidates, Mary Carey, Gary Coleman, a dude named Trek Thunder Kelly, who was running as an art installation, humble Carl Mayer, who was the oldest candidate and just a goofy old man, Brian Quinn, who's pure young Republican, and Nathan White Cloud Walton, who was the son of an NBA player. It was hosted by MTV VJ Kennedy. It was a really boring fucking time. It should have been better, but no one was announced the winner that night. The winner was voted online and wouldn't be announced until after the election.
But they got the money, right?
Yeah, and Mary Carey ended up winning.
Hey, good. Okay.
And, then we get to election day. But, we all know who won. In 4th, we had Peter Camejo, who got an impressive 2.8% of the vote. In 2004, this would be enough for him to be the running mate for Ralph Nader's independent presidential run, where they would end up finishing 3rd overall. He'd run for governor again in 2006, but sadly, Peter would pass in 2008 after a battle with lymphoma.
Oh.
In 3rd, we have Tom McClintock. and Tom would end up staying in California Senate until 2008 before getting a promotion to the United States Congress, where he sits to this day. And he's such a weird congressman. He has been very anti-tax. He's voted against all legislation designed to combat global warming. He fought to overturn the election in favor of Trump and has been a staunch anti-masker throughout the COVID pandemic. But he's also one of the few Republican congressmen to call for Robert Mueller to investigate Trump in the first place, and is the only Republican to co-sponsor Justin Amash's and Ariana Presley's bill to end qualified immunity for cops. And yeah, dude is pretty much going to be a congressman until he dies or resigns.
California.
And then in second, we have boring bribery man Cruz Bustamante. Following the recall, Cruz would stay on as Arnold's lieutenant governor, mainly because Gray Davis got kicked out, not Cruz.
Suckers.
He would run for state insurance commissioner in 2006 and ran on an anti-obesity campaign, stating that obesity led to $7.7 billion in medical costs a year. And he used his own weight loss as a key to his campaign, claiming to lose 43 pounds during the race. However, while he was busy doing that, he failed to do a lot more basic shit, such as submitting a campaign statement for voters. And it also didn't help that, once again, Cruz was accepting money from shady groups for his campaign.
Yeah.
This time around, it was insurance companies. And when this was brought up to him, he said, "I'm not giving the money back. It's mine."
Bustamante.
Which means he lost to a Republican by 12% of the vote.
Wait, was he indicted at all? I mean, he accepted
No.
bribery charges multiple
He
times.
just paid campaign finance fees and fines.
Ugh.
So after his tenure as lieutenant governor was up in 2007, Cruz left politics for good. And currently he works as an attorney in Elk Grove, California. And then we have Arnold. Weird fucking Arnold. So his first term was a fucking failure, mainly because he kept trying to pass all these hard right platforms that no one wanted. He passed a law knocking down Gavin Newsom's bill that would have made civil unions and gay marriage legal in San Francisco. And then he tried to pass a bunch of other bills via a special election in 2005, and literally none of them passed. To the point that in 2006, he had to apologize for wasting public money on an election that no one wanted in the first place. But the good thing, though, is this pushed Arnold to be a lot more centrist. And after winning re-election, the formerly more conservative governor proposed universal health insurance for the state, as well as bonds to pay for improvement for schools, prisons, and infrastructure. He pushed hard for bills to fight climate change and to support stem cell research. However, during the Great Recession, he would pull back on a lot of this due to the fact that the state, once again, had no money. Since leaving the governorship, he has returned to his movie career with varying success and has rebranded himself as a staunch never-Trumper Republican. When asked by Politico what he feels about the upcoming recall election for Gavin Newsom, Schwarzenegger stated, quote, "It's pretty much the same atmosphere today as it was then. People are working very hard. People making unbelievable sacrifices every day. It's very tough to raise kids and to have a family and to go through this challenge, working to make ends meet." And you feel like, wait a minute, but Sacramento doesn't really do everything for us that they promised they'll do. We're working hard, but they're not. They're failing us every day. That's what I see as similarities from 2003. It's the same vibe. And when asked if this is just a Republican power grab, Arnold very quickly said, "Let me tell you, the California Republicans couldn't get anyone elected. It's ludicrous. The Republican Party does not exist." And you know, he may be right. Plus, there's already 57 candidates that have declared for the race, but none have the name power like Arnold. Angeline is back, and so is Mary Carey. And if you're looking for star power, for now, you kind of have to settle for either Caitlyn Jenner or Randy Quaid. But even Arnold doesn't believe that Gavin's going to actually get pushed out of office. He stated that as long as Gavin admits to his failures during the COVID epidemic, he has every chance to stay in office, and thoroughly believes that he will. But in a race with such a low barrier to entry, really anything could happen between now and then. And that's the story of the 2003 California recall.
Ugh.
Yeah, it's a goddamn time.
I don't want to go back there.
Look, I don't think we will. As of right now, polling for Gavin Newsom is overwhelming to keep him in office. And there's no good Republicans to replace him. The front runner right now is a guy named John Cox, who most recently got famous because he has a live fucking bear with him on his campaign stops. And most recently complained that the bear's getting more attention than him.
Rightly so.
Yeah.
Let us vote for the bear.
Yeah. And it's not, and Caitlyn Jenner is polling at about 2% right now. So she does not have a very good chance of winning. But yeah, all in all, I think this is going to be like the Wisconsin recall, which was the only other recall election in American history, with Scott Walker, where he was recalled and he didn't get kicked out of office. And yeah. So I don't think Gavin has anything to worry about in this one, but I'm going to be watching it really freaking closely.
Ugh, yeah. Whereas I will be writing Ariana Huffington and Cruz Bustamante erotic fan fiction.
Oh my God. Boo.
enemies to lovers trope.
I don't like downvote. I don't know what you do on Tumblr. I don't know. Oh my God. On that,
I will not be sharing it.
Good. You know, if we had a Patreon. Anyway. On that wonderful note, thank you all for joining us in this wild adventure, and we'll see you next time on Gadfly. President of California. God damn it. Gadfly is a production of Added Serotonin. Our episodes are edited by Brianna Valentine of Rem Alternus Productions. Our theme song is Sophomore Makeout by Silent Partner, and you can find us on Twitter and Instagram at GadflyPod.
Ready to level up your cosplay game? Check out the Geek Forge on Etsy. With a variety of props to give your photos that extra spark, you'll find just what you need. Hold magical fire in the palm of your hand, or take a potion to restore your mana. With a large variety of colors, you can choose your own magical flavor for your cosplay. Bring drama to your photo shoots with these vibrant props and more, all available at the Geek Forge. Are you ready to level up your cosplay?